Welcome back to Coffee and Conspiracies
with Ellie
and Riley.
This is a podcast about conspiracy theories and coffee recommendations.
My coffee recommendation for this episode is a chai tea latte with pumpkin cream cold foam.
And my recommendation is an iced chai tea latte from Starbucks. On this episode, we will be covering the story and conspiracies surrounding the mysterious death of JonBenet Ramsey.
JonBenet Ramsey was born on August 6, 1990 in Atlanta, Georgia, to parents John and Patsy and older brother Burke Ramsey. She had 3 older step-siblings, John, Melinda, and Elizabeth, but they didn't live with the rest of the family. JonBenet was named after her father, JonBenet Ramsey. Her father was an extremely successful multi-millionaire businessman, and her mother was a previous beauty queen. Shortly after JonBenet was born, the family relocated to Boulder, Colorado, where they would live for the next several years. Due to her mother's past experiences in the beauty and pageant industry, JonBenet naturally became immersed in the world from a young age. Her mother was former Miss West Virginia of 1977, and by the age of 6, JonBenet had already won several titles. A few of those titles include Little Miss Colorado, America's Royal Miss, and National Tiny Miss Beauty. With her blonde curly hair and sparkling costumes, it was no surprise that she took the beauty world by storm. Her last pageant was on December 17th of 1996, where she won the title of Little Miss Christmas. Unfortunately, JonBenet Ramsey's life came to an end at just the age of 6 on Christmas night. On the morning of December 26, 1996, JonBenet's mother Patsy called the police to report her daughter missing after finding a 3-page ransom note on the staircase by the kitchen. The ransom note demanded $118,000 in exchange for her safe return. The police arrived around 6 a.m. and began to search the home. It was initially suspected that she was kidnapped, however, they found no signs of forced entry upon their initial investigations. Unfortunately, there were many mistakes made by investigators. The only part of the house that was taped off was her bedroom, allowing for friends and family to tamper with evidence around the rest of the home. The police also delayed their formal interviews with the parents and shared key details of their findings with them prior to their interviews, possibly altering their stories. Around 1 p.m., the police instructed John and a friend to check the house for anything that might be out of place or suspicious. The first place they checked was the basement, where they found JonBenet's body. Her body was found with a cord around her wrists and neck and duct tape on her mouth. Her torso was covered in a white blanket. Her father immediately carried her body upstairs, contaminating the crime scene further. The discovery of JonBenet's body was shocking for many reasons, but the main question posed was how was her body not discovered during earlier searches? That question was quickly answered when it was revealed that during earlier searches, the basement had been neglected to be thoroughly searched. JonBenet's body was found in a small room in the basement that was hidden by a latched door. While there was initially some uncertainty if JonBenet's body had been there all along or if it had been moved sometime during the day, it was determined that it was most likely there all along and simply overlooked due to the hectic state of the Ramseys' home. When the autopsy on JonBenet's body was performed, it was determined that JonBenet had suffered strangulation and a severe skull fracture. The official cause of death was asphyxia by strangulation associated with craniocerebral trauma. A makeshift garrote was found on her body, made with one of her mother's paintbrushes and a piece of cord. Sexual assault couldn't be ruled out, although rape was never confirmed. There was a small blood sample gathered from JonBenet's clothing that, when tested, was said to belong to an unknown male. This DNA did not match any individuals in the FBI database. Another detail that is often noted regarding the autopsy results is that a fruit or vegetable substance resembling pineapple was found in her stomach. Her parents don't remember feeding her pineapple the day before, but there was a bowl of pineapple with her brother's fingerprint sitting on the kitchen counter. John and Patsy claimed that JonBenet's brother Burke was asleep the whole night and could not be involved. There are 2 main theories when it comes to this case. The first is the family theory. As in most cases, the police and media turn to the family as the initial suspects. One of the biggest reasons that the police focused solely on the family in the beginning was that they believed the ransom note was staged. It was unusually long for a ransom note and was written with paper and pen from the Ramsey household. Additionally, the note asked for exactly $118,000, which happened to be the exact amount John had received as a work bonus the year before. When asked to provide handwriting samples, both John and Burke were cleared. However, there was and still is some debate around Patsy's handwriting sample, but it was never further investigated. A grand jury later convened to consider indicting John and Patsy with child endangerment and obstruction of a murder investigation, but they were not prosecuted on these charges. The parents were eventually cleared and never named official suspects in the case of their daughter. Another aspect of the family theory is JonBenet's brother Burke. Although John and Patsy claim that Burke was sleeping throughout the night of December 25th, there are many people that believe Burke played a role in JonBenet's mysterious death. When it comes to Burke's possible involvement in his sister's death, the general theory is that Burke accidentally caused his sister's death and his parents covered it up afterwards. Many people say that Burke and JonBenet got into some sort of altercation in which he struck her harder than he intended to, causing her to fall and hit her head. Upon discovering what their son had done, the parents then arranged for JonBenet's death to look like a homicide. This theory would match with the suspicions surrounding the ransom note. In 2016, a documentary regarding the JonBenet case was released. In the show, the idea that Burke had accidentally struck and killed his sister was explained and publicized. Burke's legal team filed defamation lawsuits against the individuals behind this documentary, and the theory was never officially confirmed or further investigated afterwards. Those who don't believe the family had any involvement in the death of JonBenet turn to the intruder theory. This theory seems to hold more concrete evidence, the biggest piece being the unidentified boot mark left in the basement where JonBenet's body had been discovered. Additionally, the police found a broken basement window upon more extensive investigations of the home. They believe that the intruder would have used this window as a point of entry and a means to leave afterwards. However, the area around the window appeared undisturbed when police looked into this possibility. Another reason that the intruder theory tends to be considered more likely is that JonBenet was in the public eye. Being a popular pageant title holder in the spotlight made JonBenet an easy target and opened her up to sexual predators. In 2006, a man named John Carr falsely confessed to sexually assaulting, drugging, and murdering JonBenet. The police found no evidence to link John Carr to the case. Their suspicions regarding the confession were virtually confirmed when the autopsy had revealed no drugs in JonBenet's system upon her death and no trace of matching DNA.
Okay, so after hearing that information, personally, I believe it wasn't a complete stranger, break-in situation, just because of the couple things of, yes, the window was broken, but it is pretty clear it was broken, from the inside of the house. Mm-hmm. Nothing was messed up on the outside. Nothing was really broken. And then also the fact of the ransom note is that if it was written with paper and pen from inside of the house, and it was 3 pages long, nobody's going to sit and write a 3-page long note after you kill a little girl in their house.
Yeah. No one has the time to practice that beforehand.
Yeah.
Well, and once you get in the house, you only have so much time. You want to get back out. You want to get in, you want to get out. So you wouldn't have time to write that all down.
Yeah.
And the amount of money was oddly specific.
Yes.
So you'd have to know a lot about John and how much money he's getting to be able to put that on the ransom note.
Yeah, I would agree. So then that leaves us with, we think it is the family.
The family, yep. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was an accident, even though it probably was the family from what we're saying. I just don't think that I don't think it was premeditated. I don't think they planned it out before.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that they woke up on Christmas and
yeah,
we want to murder our kid tonight or something.
Mm-hmm. And something I always come back to, well, it's either did the brother do it and the parents helped him cover it up, or was it just the parents? Because personally, I really don't think the brother, who was 9 years old at the time, could do that on his own.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right? So in the documentary, I think it came out 2016, they painted the picture let's say Burke is sitting at the kitchen counter, table, wherever in the kitchen, and he's eating his bowl of pineapple, because that was what they found when they investigated. And JonBenet comes downstairs to, play with her new toys from Christmas or whatever, and she tries to take a piece of pineapple from his bowl. He gets mad, he hits her either with something over the head too hard, or he pushes her and she falls and hits her head. And then so he accidentally kills her, and then he goes upstairs, tells his parents, and they try to cover it up. That was the picture that they painted in the documentary.
Yeah, I feel like even if that's not exactly how it was, I feel
Right.
like that's pretty close to what it had
General
to have
idea.
been.
Yeah. And her official cause of death was the asphyxia from the strangulation. So what I kind of think is maybe he pushed her or he hit her, whatever. She falls and hits her head. He goes and tells the parents, and they panic, right? And they want to save him. They don't want their son to be taken away from him, so they start to cover it up. But maybe when he, like, pushed her and she hit her head, she wasn't completely dead yet. So when they tried to set it up to look like she was strangled, that's what actually killed her.
Yeah. And what if during this time, brother's like freaking out and he goes and dad starts helping him, and then mom goes into the office or wherever and starts writing this ransom note because there wasn't evidence that it wasn't her handwriting.
Right. She was never officially ruled out. In 2006, JonBenet's mother passed away from ovarian cancer at the age of 49. Her father and brother are still alive, and in 2016, Burke made an appearance on Dr. Phil to discuss his sister's murder. As of today, there are still supporters and skeptics of both theories. JonBenet's case is still unsolved and remains open as one of America's greatest mysteries.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Coffee and Conspiracies with Ellie and Riley. We hope you found a new conspiracy to keep on your mind and a new coffee to try.
Come back for the next episode for another conspiracy that keeps you up at night.